Hey guys, what's going on? It's Clever Techie, and in this video we're going to be creating a responsive navigation bar in CSS and HTML, which is going to look like this. And if I go to Developer and click on Responsive Design Mode, this is what the menu is going to look like on the mobile devices. And as you can see here at the top, the Show Menu button has been showed up, and I can click on it to show and hide the menu. And the reason we want to include that is because space is limited on the mobile devices, so we want to provide that extra functionality for our users. If I reduce the screen size, it's going to collapse the menu automatically, and I can keep reducing the screen size, and it's going to look good on all the mobile devices, and this is as responsive as a menu can get. So let's go ahead and create the menu now. So what I've done here is I've created two files, index.html and style.css. And the reason I have these windows split like this is when we're going to be creating our styles, I want to make sure you guys understand how we're selecting all the HTML elements using our cascading style sheets, which is the important part. What goes inside those CSS selectors is pretty easy to understand, and I'm going to just go over that really fast, but I'm really going to explain how we're selecting all the HTML elements. Okay, so let's go ahead and type up all the HTML first. First of all, we want to make sure that we're telling the browser we're typing in HTML5 by typing doctype HTML, and then just typing up all of our basic HTML elements. We can name this responsive navigation menu. Then we want to include the style right away by using the link tag style rel equals style sheet and href equals style.css. Okay, here is where we want to include the meta name viewport tag, and the meta name viewport is supposed to be included on all the web pages that are responsive. And I'm at W3 Schools here, and this is exactly what they say. So just go ahead and copy this HTML and paste it into your index.html, or go ahead and type this line yourself. And if you scroll down here on our web page, they show how the web page is going to look without the meta tag and what it's going to look like with the meta tag. So just make sure you include it on all the responsive web pages that you're designing. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we're ready to create our menu. Let's go ahead and create the menu now. So the main menu links is going to have 5 items. So it's going to have home, about, portfolio, news, and contact. Okay, so those are all the main links. Under about, we're going to have 2 drop-down links. So make sure you're within the list item element, and then create two new links. Under portfolio, we want to have 3 links, so I'm going to include those. And you guys can include as many links as you like, of course. I'm just using this as an example. Okay, so all of our links are created. Also, I'm going to specify what the main... just going to tab this to make it look better. And this is our main UL tag, so I'm going to say ID equals menu for our main menu. And for the drop-down links, I'm going to call this class hidden, because these links are going to be hidden initially. So it makes sense to name them hidden. Okay, next up, above the menu is where we want to create that show menu button. And the show menu button is going to consist of the label and a checkbox. So it's going to be our label for show menu, class equals show menu. And then we want to type the text, which is again show menu. Close the label, and then we're going to have a checkbox. Input type equals checkbox. ID equals show menu. Role equals button. Okay, the reason we have a label and a checkbox is because using the label, we're gonna apply a CSS style to make our label look pretty. And whenever we click on this label, since we use the for attribute, and we have a checkbox which has an ID show menu, which is the same as here, clicking on the label is gonna show the checkbox. It's gonna check the checkbox. So our label is gonna look like a button, and we're gonna hide the checkbox using the CSS. That way, it's gonna appear like we have a button, and we're gonna show the menu by clicking on the label button. So here's what we have so far, and if I click on the label here, you can see that it's checking it and unchecking that checkbox. Later in CSS, we're going to detect this checked box property, and we're going to show the menu and hide the menu when the checkbox is unchecked. Okay, so that's it for the HTML. Now let me go ahead and expand the style here, and now we're ready to create our style. So far I have the background image for the style, and that step is optional. Okay, so now we're gonna go over all of our UL and LI elements and apply styles to them. So the first thing we want to do is strip the UL of padding and list styling. And we select our first tag, which is the main UL. And I just want to show you guys more of HTML. Okay, so this is the main tag that we're selecting, UL. And list style type none. I'm going to say none, margin 0, padding 0, and position absolute. We also want to create a horizontal list with spacing for our list item elements. So here is just LI. So this is the LI that we're selecting. We're selecting all the LIs. Display inline block, float to the left, and margin right 1px. Let's see what it looks like so far. And so far it looks pretty messed up. But now we're gonna style our actual main menu links, and it's gonna look a lot better. In order to style our main menu links, we have to select the A element. So, and the A element is inside the LI element. So that's exactly how we select it, LIA. So LI and then A, which is the link element inside of the list item. And I'm just gonna copy this whole CSS inside of it. Don't worry too much about, I mean, this is really easy to understand. We're applying all kinds of styles to the list link element. And if I refresh the page here, here's what our list item links is going to look like. If you guys want to play around with this, you can go ahead and open the inspector tools and click on this icon here, and you can roll the mouse over all these elements and then click on one of them. And here on the right hand side, it's going to show you all the CSS that we just applied to it. So you can uncheck all these checkboxes, and it's going to remove the CSS that is applied to it. So you can easily see and experiment with all these tags and see what every one of these properties do to the style of our HTML. So these are all the elements. Go ahead and play around with them to understand them better. And this inspector and web developer tools is a great way to understand what's going on with the CSS and HTML. Okay, let's keep going here. So we have created the style for the, I'm gonna add a comment. So this is a style for menu links. Next up, let's create a hover state for the top level links. So that's whenever we roll the mouse over our main links, it's going to change a background color. So hover state for top level links. And we select the hover property by, we select the mouse over property by using a hover keyword. And li:hover and then the A element. So this is going to select the LI, mouse over, and then we selecting the A link element, which is inside the mouse over of a LI element. Okay, so here we just want to change the background color to another color, 19C589. Okay, let's see what we've done. Okay, so that's exactly what it's doing. What we specified is changing the background color of the mouse over of the LI element. Okay, let's apply a style for our drop down links now. Style for drop down links. And the way we select our drop down links is, first of all, we got to make sure we're in a hover, we're in the mouse over of the main list item here. And then we follow that by the UL, LI, and A, because this is where the drop down links are. So we have a LI, mouse over, which is hover, and then we have a UL, LI, and A. And that's exactly how we get to our drop down links. Yeah, that's exactly how we get to the drop down links. And here I'm also going to just copy and paste this code. And that's it for the drop down links. Now let's also add the hover state for the drop down links so that they also have their own background and color. Hover state for drop down links. So we do the same thing as we did here, but we add the hover selector, and then we just say the background equals 19C589, which is the same background, and color is white. Okay, let's see what we got so far. And here you can see that that's exactly what we wanted. So, but now all these links are showing up, so we want to hide the drop down links initially, otherwise our menu is looking pretty ugly. So let's go ahead and hide the menu drop down links right now. Hide drop down links until they are needed. Okay, and the way we get to the drop down links is just LIUL, and then display none. So that's just going to hide all the links. If I refresh the page, you can see that all the drop down links are hidden. Okay, next I want to make sure that all the drop down links are vertical. And this is just going to style our drop down links so that they look neat. So block and float none. Also, we want to make sure the text is centered in the drop down links, and we want to prevent text wrapping on drop down links. So again, LI, UL, LI, A is how we select it. And then we apply all the width, auto, min width equals 100 px, padding 0.20 px. So this is all just to make our links, all our drop down links look good. Okay, let's see what we got so far. Okay, they're not showing up yet, but we're gonna add that style to show the links in just a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and add that style right now. Display the drop down on hover. Okay, this is sort of a tricky part, but I'm gonna explain how it works. Okay, so first of all, we're inside the UL and LI a hover. So UL LI a hover. So it's okay, UL LI a and then hover. So it's the main mouse over of the main link, like about. So once we're there, we want to show the drop down links. And the way we do that is we use a plus selector and then follow that by our class, which is hidden. And that's going to show the whole hidden UL class that's underneath our main links. Hidden, and also we want to include the hidden hover as well. because otherwise it's gonna hide the mouse over of the hidden element. So just include both of them. And the plus selector is basically, if you go to W3 schools, it's gonna say select and style every element that are placed immediately after another element. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And then we just want to say display block. And that's it. That's all we want to do. Now let's see what happened. If I refresh the page. Okay, the hover is not showing. Oh, okay, so I forgot the dot here. So you saw a perfect example of what would happen if we didn't include this part here. Okay, so now all the links are showing up and they look good. So let's keep going. And under padding, I think, yeah, messed this part up. Okay, now they look good. Alright, cool. Okay, let's keep going here. What do we got next? Okay, so for the, let's start working on the show menu button now. So we want to hide this checkbox so it's invisible, first of all, because we don't really need that checkbox. We don't need it to be visible on a page. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide checkbox. And the way we select it is input, and then inside the square brackets, type equals checkbox, and that's how we select the checkbox. I'm going to say display equals none. So that's going to create our invisible checkbox. And next is a cool part, is where we actually we show the menu when invisible checkbox is checked. So that's why we created the checkbox in the first place. So when I say input, type equals checkbox, and then colon checked, and then tilde menu display block. Okay, so here's what we've done is we're selecting the checkbox, and then we're using the selector colon checked to make sure that the checkbox is checked. And then the tilde works in a very similar way as a plus. It's just going to say everything that's underneath that checkbox, which is our main menu here, is gonna select that menu and apply the following CSS to that HTML. So that's how that works, and let's go ahead and see what happened here. Okay, so now I can't show you how this works yet, so let's go ahead and actually create the style for our main menu, for our menu label, which is show menu. And I'm gonna go ahead and paste all the CSS of the main menu here. So this is all the CSS for the label of the menu, which is gonna look like a button. So it's this, we're applying the CSS to this HTML right here. Okay, if I refresh the page, nothing's gonna happen because right now the menu is not being responsive because we haven't included the responsive style yet. So when we add all the responsive stuff, all of this menu stuff is gonna make sense for you guys. So let's go ahead and add the responsive styles, which is the last part that we need to do. Responsive styles, and for that we want to use the media selector, and then media screen, and max width. And the max width is where we want our menu to collapse into a responsive menu. And then we want to apply some CSS to the drop down links. First of all, we want to make sure they appear inline. Position static, display none. We also want to create the vertical spacing for our links because they're going to be displaying horizontally. I mean, they're going to be displaying vertically instead of horizontally. So we want to add some vertical spacing to our list items. Margin bottom 1px. And we also want to make sure that all our links are full width, so they stretch across the whole screen. UL, LI, and LIA, width 100%. And that's gonna select all of our list items and links as well and make them 100%. Finally, here's the best part of it, this whole video. We're gonna show the menu using a simple show menu selector class that we created, display block. And this is gonna show our menu button, which we're gonna use to show and hide the menu on the mobile devices when the menu has collapsed into a responsive menu. And we also want to hide the background because the background is going to look weird in the small mobile devices. Okay, that's it for the CSS. Let's go ahead and see what the menu looks like. If I click on the mobile device here, it's going to show our menu button that we've created. And now let's click on it and the menu shows up. And it looks good. So that's how we create a responsive menu in HTML and CSS. If you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Clever Techie out.